as a huge tropical storm made its way across the Indian Ocean in March, it set itself on a collision course with the world's sweetest tooth. It's a cyclone that wreaked havoc on Madagascar, inflicting enough damage on the world's biggest vanilla producer. CNBC Africa's Rofhiwa Madzena tells us more.
For the last 20 years, Roberto Segala has been one of millions around the world making money out of vanilla. He started this ice cream shop in Johannesburg a generation ago. It sprang from a trip to see family in Italy. They taught him the family trade of making ice cream, and he named his shop in Greenside, Johannesburg, in honor of the birth of this business in his hometown, Trieste.
Ice cream was more of a commercial thing that you went and bought at one of your major stores, Pick and Pays or Checkers or whatever the case was, and it was a very commercial. And what I brought back was very much an artisanal ice cream made with small batches, better ingredients. And initially it was only vanilla and chocolate, or a derivative of vanilla and chocolate. So it was very difficult trying to get into the market and promote our flavors and our style of ice cream. I was selling it at R1.80 20 years ago. When I first started at the flea market, I've got a picture of me sitting next to my board selling ice creams. So yeah, it is now sitting at R28 per scoop. The prices, as you can see, it's major price increases. But that's also inflation.
This trade is now caught up in the winds of misfortune.
Vanilla ice cream. We all love it. We've all eaten it. But two things you didn't know about the key ingredient in this treat is that it's one of the biggest commodities globally after oil and coffee. And it's in short supply.
This was the reason. A huge tropical storm that swept in from the Indian Ocean in March 2017, Cyclone Inawo, as it has been named, wreaked havoc across Madagascar that produces 90% of the world's vanilla. This destruction left a shortage of vanilla that sent prices soaring. Within months, it quadrupled to $600 per kilogram, half its weight in gold. Madagascar may be a small island, but it is big in the vanilla business. It's produced by tens of thousands of farmers in the Sava region in the east coast of northern Madagascar.
Well, the largest producer in the world for a long time has been Madagascar. The country is responsible for around 80% of all vanilla produced and around 1,600 tons a year of vanilla beans. The problem is that being such a large producer and with many of the off-takers becoming dependent on vanilla from Madagascar, when the cyclone hit last year, that is one of the reasons that really has driven up prices and concerns that there isn't enough vanilla for the world market.
All this at a time when demand for vanilla is booming. As supplies have fallen, demand has risen because it's seen as a natural and preferable ingredient.
Well, what we've seen is a real move across the world for more natural ingredients in products. This has been a process going on for at least the last 10 years. And this has led a lot of confectioners who have been using synthetic vanilla or other synthetic substances to start using more vanilla in their products, particularly when it comes to things like ice cream or chocolate. And so what this has done is it's led to a huge increase in demand for vanilla that wasn't there beforehand. In terms of cosmetics, it will definitely affect that, essentially more than anything. So certainly whether it's shampoos, whether it's creams, that's going to lead to an increase in price or a need for substitutes.
The customers are plenty and widespread. The largest buyer of vanilla is the USA, closely followed by Europe. In these times of scarcity for vanilla, its laboratory-made competitor may get a stronger grip on the market. The vast majority of vanilla-flavored products use artificial flavoring, such as synthetic vanillin. For now, business people like Roberto Segala say natural is nice and vanilla should be pure.
Ice cream doesn't necessarily have to be made with fresh cream and milk. A lot of the manufacturers are using powdered milks, vegetable fats. You can use any fat for that matter. You can use animal fat, you can use butter fat. And they are reducing the costs by using cheaper ingredients. And people are using cheaper ingredients. Instead of using natural flavorants, they're going to synthetic flavorants, where you're throwing in an essence and a colorant to get the same effects. And that reduces the costs. I don't do it. It's not the ethos of what I stand for and what I want to put out there.
Well, we need to see a change in the fundamentals to see a change in the price. So currently demand is still very high because of this general shift which is going towards more healthier additives to foods. And vanilla is perfect. It can serve so many different purposes. So the other side is we really need to see an increase in production. Indonesian production is certainly up. And the impact of cyclone Inawo in Madagascar last year appears to have not been as bad as was thought. But we're still talking a production down in Madagascar from last season. And so I think basically until there's a change, unless we see suddenly a fantastic crop in a new country or a notable change in demand, we should expect to see vanilla prices to remain high for the foreseeable future.
Until then, food businesses will be left to carry on one scoop at a time as they weather the bitter harvest of a storm that ripped through the vanilla growers of Africa and upset the market. Reporting for CNBC Africa, I'm Rofhiwa Madzena.